2 weeks ago, I made a video about overthinking, and I took some data about overthinking and my own overthinking problem. I kind of mushed them together, created a program for myself, and actually helped myself a lot. I've really found a way to mitigate and control my overthinking because of that video. I thought it was really good. I was really proud of the video, and apparently it connected with some of you as well because our normal viewership was like 20 views a video, and that one got over 200. So I was stoked. I'm like, hell yeah. And then I saw this comment, and I was like, I can only hear the audio out of one side of my headphone, and I realized that I had fucked up the audio. Like the stupidest, simplest mistake. And upon seeing that, my first thought to myself was, I'm an idiot. And then something interesting happened. My next thought after that was, no, you're not an idiot, you just made a mistake, that's a good video. And I had this moment where I almost defended myself from myself. And it got me thinking, right? I have heard through social media and podcasts and books and all over the place, it seems, this idea that the way you talk to yourself matters, right? It's all over the place. Ready? Bam, ba-bam, bam, 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 bam. And so I decided, well, I kind of had this moment where I felt that the words I was using matter. So maybe there's some data out there to support that. I'll go into it. Great. I'm going to give you my conclusion first, and then I'm going to go into the data. Simply because my conclusion is wishy-washy. Because the data is wishy-washy. It's not solid. It's not concrete. The purpose of wisedown.com is to give you existing information, help you understand it so it can be useful to you. And there's probably a list of a million different things you could do to improve your mental health and just be better overall throughout the day in your daily life. Great. But for the vast majority of people, they can probably only pick like 2 or 3 things to spend time on or focus on mentally. You really don't have unlimited resources here, unlimited time, unlimited brain power. And so if it were me, I'd be picking like 2 or 3 things that I know would get me an improvement. And if it were me, I wouldn't pick this because I just didn't see through the data, I didn't see results that would tell me, yeah, this is definitely going to help me, or this has a very high likelihood of helping me or anyone on a large scale. So that's my conclusion. And if that's what you're here for, if you're answered the question of do the words you use matter, maybe for some people, but I can't say definitely. I can't even say probably. So there's the answer to your question. Subscribe if you liked it. Good luck, you got this. Great. Now there's a lot of data here. There's like 5 studies we're going to go through. So here's how I'm going to do it. I have the study, the results, and who cares. Great. I'm going to cut the camera, fill this out for a study, come into it, and quickly just burn through it. Cut the camera again, wipe the board, put the next study up there, camera on, burn through study. And we're just going to go through it. Right? There's pros and cons here. First of all, you're going to lose a lot of context, but if you don't really care about interpreting fMRI imaging, then great. That's why I read the studies and you don't have to. And also link all the studies below in the description so you can check out the ones you think are interesting in general. We're burning through data. Love it. Here we go. So study 1 tested the effects of positive versus negative self-talk on something called cognitive performance. That's like how well you're able to pay attention for long periods of time, right? Think about somebody that's really like mentally there. That's cognitive performance, right? The way they did this was they had 2 groups of people. One, when they engaged in self-talk, that's how you speak to yourself, did so in a way that was self-respecting. The other in a way that was self-criticizing. And they tested both of those groups and their cognitive performance before and after the self-talk. And they hope to see improvement or decline or whatever. The results were really, really interesting, actually. They found this self-respect group saw no difference in cognitive performance before and after this self-respecting self-talk. But the self-criticism group saw improvement in their cognitive performance, which is a complete reversal of what we've seen, what I've been told, which is always be nice to yourself, always be respectful of yourself, blah, blah. In this case, criticizing yourself actually improved cognitive performance. So who cares? Right? Well, this shows us that criticism has its benefits, and that maybe the words that you use to talk to yourself do matter, but maybe it's not all just about being sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes maybe it's about getting real and being like, hey, we gotta show up, right? So this tells me that the words do matter, but not in the way that I've always heard. That's study 1. We're burning through this. Study 2. So study 2. Study 2 tested the difference between third-person self-talk and first-person self-talk on emotional regulation. What is emotional regulation? It's how easy it is for you, or your ability to regulate your emotions, to control what you're feeling, right? So if someone comes up to you at the bar and is like, hey, you're ugly, do you emotionally regulate and say, like, you just have bad taste? Or do you sock that person in the face, right? That's emotional regulation. The results of the study showed that third-person self-talk improves someone's ability to emotionally regulate, right? What does this mean? The way that they separated these in the study, third person, first person self-talk looks like this. It's like talking to yourself. What am I feeling right now? What can I do about it? Whereas third-person self-talk is, what is Carl feeling right now? What can Carl do about it, right? You use your own name instead of the words I or anything like that. It sounds so weird. But this is one of the few studies I found that actually, in my opinion, had really solid data. So why should you care? I mean, it's good data you can use today. This is something you could kind of easily and automatically do right now. And also, emotional regulation is a pretty key metric for mental health. Improving key metrics of mental health is a good thing, in my opinion. So that's why we're using it today. Next one. Study 3. Okay, study 3 was not a study. Instead, it was a meta-analysis. That's when researchers take a bunch of studies and kind of look at all of them to draw conclusions. I like them, so here we are. This is a meta-analysis of a bunch of different studies and data surrounding positive psychology and its effect on mental health. Positive psychology is like the ability to take negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative experiences, and turn them positive, right? It's like, I made a mistake, but I will learn something from it. That's the idea of positive psychology. It's like optimism and happiness and all this stuff. Great. Sunshine and rainbows. Fine. The results of this meta-analysis showed that there was some positive effect that positive psychology had on mental health, but there were small effect sizes. A small effect size it's a statistical test that you run. Essentially, it tells you how practical your data is for the real world, for a really, really big sample size or a really, really big group. Right? So a small effect size means you can't really extrapolate, or you can't really apply the findings from the research to a big group, because it's not good enough to say, yeah, this will definitely work for more people than in our study. And so what that tells me is this is wishy-washy data. It's weak data. So who cares? Maybe it works. We kind of don't know because of the small effect size. I wrote maybe do push-ups. That's because it's like my dad said, if you're doing one thing, you can't do another. There's a lot of things out there, like exercise, that have really robust, solid data about their impact and effect on improving mental health. This positive psychology is, according to this data, or according to this meta-analysis, not one of those things. So maybe do some push-ups instead. It might serve you better. Next one. Okay, study 4. Study 4 tested the effect of positive psychology, the thing we just talked about, on clinically depressed patients. The results showed no significant improvement in depression, life satisfaction, or optimism. And the results also showed some improvement in positive emotions and resilience in the clinically depressed patients. But let's make a note here, the study even admitted that it probably wasn't long enough or didn't have enough people or both in order to really make serious claims. And so again, who cares? I keep hearing words matter, and I keep hearing that, but I'm not seeing the data to back it up. Again, kind of a pass on these ones. They admitted that, hey, like, we need some more people and some more time in order to do this right. But again, no significant improvement in depression, life satisfaction, or optimism. On to the next one. Last one. Okay, study 5. Last one. Study 5 actually isn't a study at all. It's an article on self-efficacy by some researchers that have done a lot of research on self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is that feeling of confidence when you perform a task, right? So if I am an NBA player, I have high self-efficacy when it comes to playing basketball, and I might have low self-efficacy if it comes to building a bridge. I don't know, something I haven't practiced, haven't done, right? Self-efficacy is a pretty big deal when it comes to self-esteem, which self-esteem has been equated to impact lifespan, quality of life, mental health, all kinds of things. So self-esteem is a big deal, and having a lot of self-efficacy, having a lot of self-confidence in tasks that are important to you has been shown to improve self-esteem, right? So when we talk about self-efficacy, this is a good thing. It's important. The results are, I guess, the article mentions that self-efficacy can be improved with positive self-talk. It mentions this in one sentence at like the very end. It talks about a bunch of different ways you can improve self-efficacy, and if you want some more information on that, I wrote a blog about it the other day. I'll link that in the comments or in the description, wherever. It mentions a bunch of ways you can improve self-efficacy. One of the ways is it says, praise can really improve a person's self-efficacy, and if you don't have anyone to give you praise, you can give that praise to yourself. The one caveat is don't lie. So if you don't actually think you did a good job on something, don't tell yourself you did a good job on something. Who cares? Self-efficacy matters, right? It does. And at least there's data to show it does. And this is an easy way to do a little bit of improvement. Again, a very little. The study acknowledges that this is the least beneficial thing you can do to improve self-efficacy compared to the other things they mentioned in the article. There's no data also, so it's not like they conducted a study, but this actually shows some results for positive psychology, and I've kind of been shitting on it for a little bit, so I wanted to just provide as a complete picture as I possibly could. That's study 5. Okay, let's quickly recap. We had studies that needed more time and more people, we had no significant improvements, and we had small effect sizes. Fine. But there were some good pieces too, like how self-criticism could potentially boost cognitive performance in the right situations, and how third-person self-talk could aid in emotional regulation. That's cool. So I'm not trying to go over here and say that the way you talk to yourself doesn't matter, right? What I am saying is that there's not enough data for me personally to tell you that it would really, really help you. And in the real world, where there's a million different things that you could be doing with your time and with your brain power, in my opinion, I would choose something other than this to focus on. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Now, you might be out here and wondering, hey, can I try it? Sure. It's cheap. It's easy, I guess, kind of. Like it's easy to cut yourself some slack once in a while. Why not? Is it effective? I don't know. The studies didn't tell me that it would be effective for a lot of people, but it might be effective for you, and everyone's different. So try it if you'd like. Again, this is not medical advice. If I missed anything, if you guys do have data that's like, yeah, like you totally missed this, please send it to me. Please let me know. Remember, I'm the guy that messed up the audio 2 videos ago. So I definitely make mistakes. That's all good. But yeah, good luck. You got this.